Hi, thanks for joining me. I'm Hailey Frances with Russ, Lyon, Sotheby's International Realty. I am a realtor and local market expert here in Arizona, and this is the Valley Homes Zoom series where I bring on other experts in the realm of home lending and title and home warranty experts to talk about the process of home buying and selling and make it easier for all of us to understand. Today, we're talking about the pre-approval process, how to get pre-approved for a loan. It is one of the most common questions I get from home buyers. How does this whole thing work? And so to talk about it, I brought on Colton Dooley with Homeowners Financial Group just to talk about the whole process. Colton, thanks so much for joining me.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on. Really, it's an honor to be able to share what I love with you and for anybody listening. So definitely love to jump into the process. Some of the biggest questions we see are what's entailed in the process, how long does it take? So for me, the three biggest things that we have is the application, where we go through any personal information, job history, living history, employer credit. And then from there, we request documentation. And after requesting documentation, we get that reviewed within 24 to 48 hours. And we set up a structure call to finalize numbers, estimates for your down payment, your purchase price, closing costs, monthly payment. Make sure you really feel comfortable, know where all your money's going. And then from there, we're able to issue that prequal out to your agent to then allow you to start putting in offers. And kind of that initial step in the application, what we really like is it's called the rule of two. So where have you lived for the past 2 years? What's your job history been like for the past 2 years? Has it been consistent? Are you W-2'd, self-employed? And then from there, documentation. A really good thing for clients to know and to expect is also going to kind of follow that rule of two. We'll need 2 pay stubs, 2 years of tax returns if you're self-employed, 2 years of your W-2s, and 2 months most recent bank statements for your down payment and closing costs. Now, kind of the timeline on that, we really like to move as fast as the client and the agents need us to. So one of the initial questions we ask in the application process is, hey, what's your timeline? Are you currently renting? Your lease is coming due. You have to give them a notice in a couple weeks. How quick can you get us those documentations so we're able to get that reviewed? So really it kind of comes down to your timeline and making sure we can work with you to get all that done.
Okay. And yeah, so one of the things that, realtors, when we're working with our clients, our clients know this, but our new clients may not, is the process of getting pre-approved should really be, you can choose your realtor first, that's fine. And, start to develop your relationship with them and let them know what they're looking for, what you're looking for in a home. But then the first real big step is, connecting with the lender, getting pre-qualified, filling out the forms that Colton was talking about. And then your lender can tell you, the big question on everyone's mind is, how much home can I buy? How much of a loan can I qualify for? And so Colton, by them filling out this form that you give them and talking to you and working with you, they'll get a better understanding of how much of a loan they actually qualify for. So they know what kind of home they can look for, right?
Correct. Yeah, we have what are called your DTIs. For those of you who don't know, it's your debt to income ratios. You have 2 numbers. Your front side is your projected housing expense, which is what we estimate your monthly payment to be for taxes, insurance, principal, and interest. And you divide that by your income. That's going to give you your first number. The second number is kind of the more important number. It's going to be that same estimated monthly housing expense plus all of your monthly liabilities. What revolving credit cards do you have? Do you have an auto loan with a monthly payment? And that all gets added up and then divided by your income as well. There's certain thresholds we have to meet for our automated underwriting systems to get what's called an approve eligible, meaning you are eligible for this loan. And those numbers have to be under, generally we say about 50%, 49%, but the lower that percentage you have.
Okay, great. So, and how long this process, you're giving us like the really great detailed version of what happens in the back end, which is really cool because it gives people some transparency to understand, how the process of obtaining a loan actually works. But like, how long does it actually take once somebody contacts you and says, I'm ready to be pre-qualified for a loan? How long does it take them to actually get the pre-qualification letter in hand so that they can start looking for a home?
Right. So say we connect, the application is going to take about 15 to 20 minutes over the phone. I'll get all your information, run that credit. Documents will be requested right away. If you upload your documents that night, I will have them reviewed 24 hours, 48 hours, and we'll have the structure appointment. Make sure you feel comfortable, and that pre-qual goes out right away after that. So depending on how quick documentation's uploaded, we've seen it as early as a day, and then with some clients who have to find their documents, it can take a week, 2 weeks. So really comes down to the document aspect. We don't like to issue any pre-quals without reviewing documentation, because that's where you can get into, hiccups to where then you're putting in offers where you may not be eligible for the loan. But, for someone that's really wanted to move quick, they're getting out of maybe their lease and they need to find a place ASAP, really 1 to 2 days.
Okay, great. And, this is going to sound like a silly question because I'm talking to you and you could be somebody's lender. Anybody who's watching this could, choose to work with you directly. But like, if you don't know where to go, I know that there are so many resources online for people who need to, kind of price compare and look for different lenders. What would you recommend to people? Like, what is the step they should take to just look for a lender to work with? I'm going to just say my bias is that I love working with local lenders because it's nice because we develop a relationship and the agent and the lender work very closely together throughout the process. But how would you recommend people actually look for a company to provide a loan to them?
So every client's going to have, the different needs that need to be met. Some people are really service and communication oriented. Some just want, to do it through their bank because they've dealt with them for a long time. I'm with you. I always default to relationships between our real estate agents and ourselves, just because there is so much that's collaborated on. And I think as a client, I think you need to get with your realtor first and develop that trust, because you working with the realtor, you guys are the front runners on everything we do. So if there's not trust there, it's going to make your job a little bit tougher. The client may not be as happy. So really creating that trust between you and your realtor. And then my biggest thing is going with someone your realtor recommends, because if you can trust your realtor trusts this lender, that you can trust this lender to be communicative, to make sure they're following up, explaining the entire process, and really, frankly, reaching out before you even have a question, because we always like to over communicate to make sure everything's running smooth for you. That's my biggest recommendation. Like I said, there's lots of good reviews on Facebook groups and different things like that. But my number one recommendation on where we see the most beneficial transaction is directly from agent to lender.
Okay. That's been my experience too. So, and then when people actually are pre-qualified through you or any other lender, you guys are able to lock them in on an interest rate. Is that correct? And how long are they able to stay locked into that rate? If it takes them a while to find a home, is that a problem?
No. So generally what actually happens is we don't look at locking the interest rate until you're under contract. We can look at it ahead of time if it's a concern of yours, and we'll take an analysis, and we'll always give our recommendation on what we're thinking the market's going to look like. Ultimately, it ends up being the client's choice. Generally with purchase contracts, we don't see a lock until you're already in contract. That rate can be locked for 30, 45, or 60 days, depending on, maybe you need some extra feasibility in there. You're not quite sure about the house, or maybe, 30 days here, we're quick to close. Let's get this done. We go ahead and get that locked. So when we get that contract in, I always do a follow-up call with the client, make sure, hey, this is what we're looking at for today's rate based off of all the markets. Do you want to lock? No, I'm not sure. What do you think? Is generally kind of the response we get. So what we'll do is we kind of tell, especially so for recently, we've been seeing the market's been trending up a little bit. It hasn't taken any very large jumps, but over the past month and a half, it's been slowly increasing and hitting different benchmarks. So rates have been driving up just a little bit, and we'll always give you that information, and then ultimately the decision's up to you. Mm-hmm.
Got it. Okay. All right, Colton, this has been just great information. Thank you so much for taking some time to talk to me.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much again for having me on. It's a pleasure.
Okay, great. Well, hopefully we can do it again and, keep working on that relationship because it is so important for agents and
It
lenders
really is.
together. It really is. It's everything. Colton Dooley with Homeowners Financial Group. Thanks so much. And Colton's information is going to be in the description at the bottom of the YouTube channel. So you can reach out to him if you have any questions about lending, and my information's there as well if you have any questions about home buying or selling. Colton, thanks so much. We'll see you next time.
Bye.